and welcome to the Encore Offstage podcast. This is a conversational podcast where we talk about all things theatre. I'm Lucy GAZZARD.
I'm Ben Bradley.
And I am Adam Guest.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a wonderful array of things for you. Ben, what are you doing today?
This week I am chatting with Kev Castle, who's a fantastic reviewer in Nottingham on Drum. So it'd be great to chat to him.
Looking forward to that. And Adam, what are you bringing to the table today?
I'm going to be talking about a specific topic. I want to discuss what exactly is the X Factor. I'm not talking about a really bad game show.
Ooh.
I'm looking forward to that topic, and I will be bringing you the quiz today.
Ooh, okay. I think we should start with Lucy's quiz this week.
Ooh, he's ready and rearing to go.
I'm ready.
Go.
Me and Adam have got a rivalry from earlier that we have got a couple of weeks ago that we have got to squash.
Yes.
So, for all the listeners at home, Ben, if you can give us your little herald.
This is my buzzer.
Thank you. And Adam, if you give us your buzzer. Beautiful, beautiful. So today, gentlemen,
we're all very equipped here at the Encore Offstage podcast. You can tell the budget we have.
The budget we had went on Ben's microphone.
all expenses spared here. All
I
expenses
bought this myself.
spared.
Thank you very much.
Good. I'm glad you did. Yeah, because we couldn't afford to buy one, so it's fine.
No, because we have no money. Please support us on Patreon.
So today, gentlemen, your quiz is going to be Guess the Musical from the prop list.
Oh my god!
From the prop list. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
So you won't be getting multiple choice. I mean, I don't give multiple choice here, but you will get a handy clue if you are stuck after your first try.
Okay.
So, I'm ready for this. I'm ready.
So, your first one.
Yeah.
We have a chalkboard. We have cake. What? Ben.
Matilda the musical.
It is Matilda the musical.
I was sure with chalkboard, but I was like, I've got to wait for something else.
Yeah, so I was like, and then cake, obviously.
So there are 4 items each time. There are 4 items.
Okay.
When are we allowed to buzz in just whenever?
I think you can buzz in whenever if you are extremely sure.
I'm extremely sure.
Sure.
So next
Kirk.
one, ready. We have got emerald glasses. Oh yeah, Adam, I can see you dinging there.
Is it Wicked?
It is indeed Wicked. The other props would have been wheelchair, broom, and wand. So quick off the mark there. Well done.
I think that you ought to have done the wheelchair at the end just in case, because that could have given it away really early. But it didn't matter because I got that one right. So no.
Okay, number 3. Are you both ready for this one? Okay, we have got crates, flags. Yes, Ben.
Bit of pun. Is it Les Miserables?
It is Les Miserables. The rest of the ones would have been tankards and manacles.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So, number 4. We have fish, guitar, yellow hat, and beer.
Sorry.
Adam, were you clapping?
No, I wasn't. No.
Oh,
No.
Bit of pun. I'm going to fish, yellow hat. Oh, let's guess Come From Away.
Yes, you are right. It was Come From Away. You are on fire.
But that one as well, so I've been listening.
Right, there's still time to catch up though, Adam.
That's all right. That's good.
Sorry, who's winning, Lucy?
So far it's you, Ben. You are 2.
Oh, funny that.
So sassy. Right then. So number 5, we have marshmallows, apron. Yes, Ben.
Waitress.
Yes, it is waitress.
I was banging wrong before that.
Sorry, you need to do it louder. I can't hear yours.
Okay, I'll bang louder.
The rest of them, though, would have been flour and rolling pin, but I thought those 2 were a bit obvious to put near the start.
Fine.
So, next one. Adam is poised. We have clock, computer, telephone, and photocopier. Yes, Adam.
Is it 9 to 5?
It is 9 to 5.
Oh, well done. Did not
9
know
to
that
5.
one.
Of course, Dolly Parton. Absolutely, Dolly Parton.
Good old Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton.
So, next one. Now, I saw this one, and it didn't make sense until I saw the answer for this one, but it's so obvious when you do. So, umbrella. Yes, Adam.
Is it Mary Poppins?
It is Mary Poppins.
That's not on.
The rest
Just you're equal now. Yeah,
What?
you've got time to
Cheating,
catch up,
Adam.
man.
Cheating,
Got time
Adam.
to catch up.
Are you looking at
Cheating?
you got the answers on your screen, Adam?
Have I really? Oh,
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove it.
Yeah.
And of course, the rest of those were brown bag, black hat, and medicine bottle. It was the medicine bottle that threw
I was
me.
going to say. Yeah, okay.
So, question 8. But then, like, Adam, this is your chance to get neck and neck with Ben now.
I thought it was neck and neck. I got the past 2.
No, that was question number 7.
Right, okay.
So, balloons, bunting, a globe, and stilettos. Yes, Adam.
Is it Kinky Boots?
It is not Kinky Boots. Ben, you have a chance to steal.
I've got no idea.
Balloons, bunting, globe, and stilettos.
I really don't know.
Do you want to pass to the guess and it's against you both?
Pass to a clue, yeah.
Okay, so musical based on a documentary. Yes, Ben.
Everyone's talking about Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We talked about that a few minutes ago.
Well done. Okay, you've still got a chance, Adam. You've still got a chance. We've got 2.
Good.
So, ready. Number 9, we have a frog, King James Bible, a golden plate, and a suitcase. I'll read those again. We have a frog, a King James Bible, a golden plate, and a suitcase. And if you're both really stuck, the Bible is probably going to be the key prop here. Oh, that was definitely you, Ben.
Oh, I'm going to guess Sound of Music, but...
It is not Sound of
But
Music.
why would there be a frog?
Now's your chance, Adam.
What did you say, Bible?
Pardon?
Did you just say Bible?
I said Bible is the key item.
Is it the Book of Mormon, is it?
It is Book of Mormon.
Oh, well done, Adam.
Well done.
Why?
And now, this is your last question.
Who's winning currently?
It is you, Ben. You know full well it's you winning.
No, to be fair, Adam might have overtaken me at that last one, so...
So, this last one, we have... I don't know what way to ask this one. We have a boat, a red rose, candelabras, and a white mask. That was Adam.
Phantom of the Opera.
Yes, it is Phantom of the Opera. We are on a tiebreaker now.
Oh, no!
Right, okay. Sudden death. Sudden death.
So got another quiz up.
So, no. I've got one in mind which requires props.
Okay.
So,
Requires props.
yes.
Are we buzzing in?
You are buzzing in, so as soon as you know it, buzz in. So,
Okay.
rubber gloves, a deck of cards, toilet paper, and little party blowers.
Are you sure this is a musical, not your shopping list?
This is definitely a musical. So rubber gloves, a deck of cards, toilet paper, and party blowers. And these are also props that the audience used to bring. That was Ben.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to guess at something like Rocky Horror.
It was indeed Rocky Horror. Cards for Sorrow. It was Cards for Sorrow. They throw when they say Dr.
Yes.
The snapping glove, and obviously when Rocky is being born, they're all waving the clackers and blowing party blows. So well done, Ben.
Well done, Ben. Well done. Really well done, Ben.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Adam. It's really sincere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah, let's move on quickly.
So I win again, which is always good.
Yeah.
Too modest.
I win again. Shall we talk about my topic now?
Is it your topic next? Yeah, come on now. Let's give you your topic.
Good. So, I wanted to talk about... You right there, Ben? Good.
Sorry, I was so violent.
What it was, I wanted to talk about what gives somebody the X factor. So before we start, I want you to think of an actor or an actress that stands out to you that you like. Who just off the top of your head, somebody that you really like or you can watch over and over again.
Not necessarily musical theatre.
No, anything.
Oh, I love Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
And I'd say John Barrowman.
John Barrowman. Okay. So for those of you, so you've got Tim Curry, John Barrowman. What is it about them that you enjoy?
For John Barrowman, the energy, the passion, the love that he puts into everything. The fact that for me, he's just so on it all the time. Okay.
For me, Tim Curry, for a start, it's his voice. His voice is so distinctive, I think. I think that's why I love Freddie Mercury as well, because you can listen to him and instantly know it's him. But he also comes across as always so charismatic, charming. I just think he's just got such a good vibe, and he puts his all into whatever he does. I mean, he's very prolific in voice acting and film, and he puts equal amounts of passion into all of it. I just love him. Love Tim Curry.
Okay, so you would possibly say that each of these people that you've read has got something about them.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah? Make them stand out from other people and other performers.
Definitely.
Would you say they've got the X factor?
So how do you define the X factor?
Well, this is it. What exactly defines the X factor? What is it? What is it that makes you be able to look at a performer or an actor or anything like that and go, I could watch them over and over again. They're amazing. Is it about their talent? Is it about their personality? What is it that gives them that extra something that makes them special?
I think they're generally very well-rounded individuals. They're always talented. They've always got sort of the way they hold themselves as well, because I'm a firm believer that when it comes to performances, you don't necessarily have to be the best. You've just got to be a great showman, because if you're not putting on a good, people can forgive sins if you put on a good show. Whereas you could be technically flawless, but if you've got the personality of like a wet haddock, people aren't going to be remembering you. I think you've got to have the talent, but also the showmanship and the charisma to sort of pull it off.
So what about in a role where their own personality doesn't shine?
Well, again, though, they are still going to be shining in a way because they are putting their interpretation into it. So you may see one actor's take on it and you'll see theirs as a preferable one to somebody else's because of the way that they've portrayed it.
Okay.
And I think that does play into your sort of your charisma and your showmanship. Can you sell your personality with your character? And I think that's a really key part of it.
Okay.
I think for me, I think it's even one step further. It's how they are in terms of themselves as their personality is important to me, especially if I'm going to follow their career in particular. How they conduct themselves on things like interviews and stuff outside of their job. where they are having to go and through the media junket day, they've got to do 100 interviews in a day. The fact that they can still bring some unique personality and just their own sort of, don't say pizzazz, 'cause that's really naff, but their own attitude to it, where you go, that joke's really clever, or they're being genuinely witty, or that you can see them being really kind to an interviewer if an interviewer is struggling. It's not an easy job. Trust me. It's just being that doing that extra step where they're not necessarily always on camera, but you always get the sense that they're just a lovely human being to work with.
You see, that makes somebody a good professional. That makes somebody extremely professional and really likable.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't necessarily say it gives somebody the X factor. I think there's something about when somebody's on stage or doing a show or watching a film, you just go, oh my God, that was incredible. And you just can't think about, it's like,
but I think it all plays into the image. Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know. It's like one of my favourite actors ever is David Tennant.
Yeah.
David Tennant is an absolute, he can do anything.
He is.
And I mean, he can do anything. There's even like comedy roles, serious roles. He obviously played Doctor Who. And I think personally, one of his portrayal of the Doctor is one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Because it's just something about it. He just captures the whole spirit of it. But at the same time, another actress that I like is Imelda Staunton. Imelda Staunton, I saw her play Mrs. Lovett in Chichester as in Sweeney Todd with Michael Ball.
Wow.
I could have taken a leave Michael Ball. I thought it was good, but I thought it was, but it's the only time I've watched Sweeney Todd and I've cried. Absolutely cried listening to some of the songs, because it's just so, but anything she does, in Harry Potter, she's possibly one of the best villains in Harry Potter. Because she's just perfect. And I don't know what I'm trying to get at is there's something about the performances, but anything they do is just that little bit extra. And we know people as performers that go, they've got something about them that just makes them stand out.
I think definitely confidence plays into it, because if you're not confident, you're not going to have people look at you and think there is somebody. They've got to have the ability to sort of command the stage. I think if you don't have that confidence to sort of take hold and sort of demand, sort of, make your presence known, you're not really going to have it. I think like confidence and being able to sort of command attention is key for that. And then actually being able to sort of absorb and make it your own. I really think those are the kind of ones, because you remember the people who've really put their own take into things, and you can sort of believe what they're putting across to you, as opposed to people that are just sort of copying other people and just sort of doing interpretations of seen before. You need your own stamp on things.
Yeah.
Stand out.
I do wonder as well if it comes from having a diversity in a role, having a role that is so diverse in terms of emotional portrayal that you see every spectrum, you see the whole spectrum, you see the whole thing. So you take David Tennant for Doctor, you saw him as a comedic genius at times, and a really emotional, heartfelt, very subtle portrayal at points, and you get that real spectrum. And if you can demonstrate in a space of one scene 100 different emotions all at once, some internalized, some externalized, I think that's what it is. It's that ability to almost feel exactly what that character is going through, and for that character to perform that so well, it comes directly from the heart, and maybe that's where it is.
It's tough for me. It's that I agree and I disagree with some of the things that you both said. I don't know if it's a personal thing for each individual person, or if I don't think it's identifiable. I don't think it's identifiable, whatever it is. I think it is there that people they have something that just makes them stand out. I don't know if it's talent. I don't know if it's awareness of what they're doing or whatever. But I was always told, if you work out what it is that makes you good, don't think about it, because then you'll lose it.
I agree with you, Adam. I think it's quite subjective, because some people might put great stead in sort of raw talent, and other people may sort of put more into sort of their charisma and their charm. So I think it depends on sort of what directly appeals to you. But for me personally, I think they've got to have talent and the charisma behind it, because without the talent, they've not really got much to provide. But equally, without the charisma, even if they might not be as technically competent as somebody else, then they won't shine. So I think you need a bit of both.
It's mad. Ben, what do you think?
I agree, actually. I think it is that combination of how you see them off camera and you see them on camera. And if actually some points that those two things don't align, well, it's even more special because it's proven their talent. I don't think natural talent is particularly the thing in terms of acting. I think in terms of singing, that's definitely you're born if you can sing, you're born if you can't, but you can learn to sing if you can't. But I think with acting, I don't think it's anything you're born with. I think you just learn it, and for someone to learn it that well to that extent, maybe it's more of a drive, maybe it's a passion thing, that if you have the drive, you have the passion to succeed, you have the ability and the want to learn, the want to get better, it's more a personal thing than anything we can put our finger on.
See, some of the like singers, for example, that I could turn around and go have got the X factor, like you say, Freddie Mercury, Sir Tom Jones, Jennifer Hudson. Put them up against other people. It's like, but again, it might be subjective. I don't think particularly Ed Sheeran's got a particular X factor, but some people love him.
Yeah.
Other actors out there, but again, it might be subjective. But there's obviously something that makes them stand out amongst other people. In a world of performers who are supposedly confident, or what makes them. And as I say, it's not a quantifiable thing. But I just wanted to debate it and just see if there was something that you could notice in all these people. Obviously, we may not, but I didn't know if there was something that we could talk about and go, yeah, it's this particular thing, or it's just individual to each person. But it's a topic for thought. I thought,
yeah.
So that's why I brought it to the table, just to think about it. It was one of those things.
Really interesting, because you don't really sort of think about why they've got the.
Why is that? What is that? And hopefully people at home will go, oh, yeah, actually, you know what? I like so and so, but why do I like so and so?
Yeah.
Or I like this comedian, or I like this singer, or I like this couple. But what they do is they've just got the X factor about them. So I think the X Factor competition itself was pointless, because it was a singing competition as opposed to somebody's got the X Factor.
Yeah. What I'm interested in then is what makes you dislike somebody, an actor or celebrity. What makes you dislike someone? Because we all have people we don't like, but what is it that makes you dislike them? Because that might both of you, because that might help answer our question.
There's not really anybody that particularly springs to mind, but it's like what you said earlier, Ben. I think definitely if people are very wooden with their emotion, I can't connect with that. I want them to make me feel something other than they're just there and doing it. That to me is sort of like a bad sort of thing watching, is when you just look at somebody and they're not making you feel anything at all.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a time and place thing, as in a situational thing. Because I think of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp can do amazing character work, fantastic character work. But and even when he did, and there were times when he did the same sort of stuff over and over again. And then after a while, when he was used a lot, it became a case of, well, I don't know if he's not so strong as he used to be anymore. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's a wonderful actor, and he's done straight roles, comedy roles, and everything else. But like, it's again one of those things where he's not necessarily star power. I think it's just something that he's got, that he's just. I don't even think it's charisma. I think he's just got something about it that he can turn his hand to particular characters And it's hard because again, it's like some he's gone, he's put exactly the same amount of work into something, and he's got it. And other times you go, well, was it the film? Was it the thing around it? Was it the reception it got? Because he's obviously put the same amount of work in. He's not just found it home. You know? I don't know. Again, it's tough. I people that I don't like, again, you just find yourself either bored or you just go, oh, it's them again. Or, you know, one I used to not like was Matthew McConaughey. Was because I just thought he was a bit samey over and over again. But then I've seen him in, is it Dallas Buyers Club?
Yes, I think it's Dallas Buyers Club.
It's amazing. Absolutely incredible. And you just go, it was absolutely fantastic. So again, my opinions can change, but again, I wouldn't necessarily say he's got the X factor. That he hasn't got that special something for me that makes him stand out. But again, subjective. One of those things to make us think.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes, that's a really interesting discussion. It's just making me ponder some things, and I'm really thinking about it. No, that's great.
Good, as long as it makes you think. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. Shall we move on to my guest now?
No.
Good.
No.
Well, waiting in the
Zero.
wings.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Sorry?
What? Sorry?
I have a nice little link there. Waiting in the wings now to chat with me is the amazing Kev Castle. So I'm going to go over and chat with him right now. So, Kev, thank you so much for joining us this week on the podcast. It's great to have you here.
It's nice to be asked. It is a little bit nervous of being on the other side of the questioning, if you like.
Yes. Well, I think likewise, because I'm not the best interviewer in the world, so I might be able to pick up some tips today.
Well, I don't know whether you'll be picking up any tips, but listening to the previous podcast, I think you're doing pretty well.
Oh, thank you. So you're an incredibly prolific reviewer of theatre in the East Midlands, and also you host the Sunday morning programme on Nottingham Hospital Radio. But I'm interested in how you got to where you are now. How did you start? What's your background?
Okay. Do you want to take the hospital radio first or the theatre?
Start with theatre.
Okay. Well, that came about through the hospital radio, actually. I started the programmes on Nottingham Hospital Radio in the year 2000, actually. So it was a case of what can I put into the show to make it a little bit more interesting. I've always liked theatre, so I thought, well, let's do some theatre reviews. And so it was a case of just emailing the press people that it was the main theatres in Nottingham, the Theatre Royal and the Playhouse at that time. I got quite a favourable response from that, so we started doing some reviews. And then after that, it was just a case really of contacting the other theatres. And then once the theatres were, the reviews were quite well received, I got the theatres and local sort of theatre groups contacting me to see if I'd come along and review. And since then, thankfully, I've had quite a good run of reviewing.
Absolutely. I mean, I know when I've done shows and things, it's always the thing to have Kev come and review your show on various shows that I've worked on over the last couple of years. So with the radio then, how did that sort of come about?
That goes back a lot longer. First started hospital radio back in 1979, which says I'm about 600 years old. And from then, there was a little bit of a gap. Then I started back at the Nottingham Hospital Radios at the City Hospital, at the Queen's Medical Centre in the year 1999, and then just started the Sunday morning shows in the year 2000.
Wow, so 21 years on Sunday morning on the air. That's fantastic. And so I've done a bit of reading, and you've nearly interviewed 1,700 guests.
You've done your research.
I've done some stalking. Yeah.
Just over 1,700 guests now since it first started.
So, do any guests stick out for you, if you can say without being too impartial?
In sort of both sides of the thing, being good and being bad. Adam, of course, is always a really good guest to get in. So he's always you don't need to do too much research with Adam.
He's always got something to plug. Yeah.
Yeah, he can talk for England, Adam can. But yeah, there's been some really good guests over the years. The 1000th guest was Dave Berry, the 60s singer. So we invited him back again. So he's been on a couple of times. David Essex was quite a good coup because we were the only people who actually interviewed him when he came to Nottingham. That's because we went out to him instead of he going to other people. But a lot of the local people, they've also got really interesting stories to tell. And for me, it's like a learning curve with theatre as well, because I learn a lot from people like yourselves and local actors, producers, directors, choreographers. It's always nice to learn from people who come in. So, you know, there's always something to learn from talking to somebody. And that's what's great about, you know, getting people to come in and have a chat about what they're doing.
It's really fascinating. So David Essex is one. Is there anyone you want to say who sticks out for a different reason, perhaps, in maybe a really difficult interview?
I'm not going to name names, but there's one person who's no longer with us who he was not the easiest of people, but his show came from Norwich. So do your research and you might find out who that is.
I'll have a look.
And also there was another one who was one of the actors in Dad's Army, who again, not the easiest of people to interview. And there's not many of the cast of the original Dad's Army left, so that might narrow it down slightly.
I'm interested now. So does it come about as in it's people who come to Nottingham with various theatrical productions and things like that, and then do you approach them or do they come to you?
A lot of the time I'll try and get them on the programme. If I can't get down to the theatre to record an interview, it's nice to get them on the phone sort of just before they come to Nottingham. And in fact, just thinking of another really good guest, someone who was really pleased to get was David Badella. And he was amazing to interview. So many stories to tell, and you just sort of ask a question and you just let him talk. You know, you don't have to do too much work there, and such a fascinating bloke as well.
I can imagine that he's did he cause any chaos on the show, or was he
not at all? He was an absolute darling.
That surprises me. That's brilliant.
No, he was lovely.
So I suppose with your review side now, how do you approach reviewing a show? Because we talked about this the other day on the podcast, and how reviews maybe aren't in the professional world as sort of significant anymore, as in people don't look at it as much. It's not something we consider. So I'm interested in how you approach reviewing a show.
Well, I'm glad you say review anyway, because a few people have described it as a critic's job, which I don't go in there to critique. I go in there to review. Knowing a lot of the people who take part in the theatre productions, you sort of go in there and you like to highlight the best parts of the show. A lot of the local productions, there's not a lot to criticise anyway, because I know the amount of work that goes into there. You know, you hear the phrase blood, sweat and tears, and it is literally blood, sweat and tears that you get out of it as well. So, but no, I mean, you do a little bit of research before you go and see a show with some of the regulars, like, you know, Joseph and all those others like that. You know the story anyway, so you don't have to do too much research. With the ones which you don't know so much, I like to read up a little bit just before it. But then again, I don't like to read too much because I want it to be like the first time I've seen it. So you get that, you know, the hairs on the back of the neck effect with a really good song. Quite a few times, you know, a lot of the actors, you'll probably know the director, something like that. So you know their work before anyway. So you can gauge that they're going to be, you know, good or whatever on the show. And you just go in there. I just go out there to enjoy it, and you know, I just write down what I see, basically. So you know, now and again you'll get the odd time where probably the performance isn't quite as good as what you'd expect. But for me, I'd prefer to concentrate on the positives rather than the negatives.
Yes.
So, you know, after all, you want people to go out there and see the show.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to put them off going to see it. You want them to be there.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. We talked about reviews, as I said the other day. And do you still think that professional reviews on professional production hold the same amount of power as they once did? Because in this sort of digital age, I know when I book a show, I book it either for name, I go, oh, I've always wanted to see whatever show, I'll go and see it. Or people tell me it's fantastic from just word of mouth, and that's one reason why. So do you think professional reviews still hold the same sort of power as they once did?
I think it depends on who's actually reading the reviews.
Okay.
I think sometimes and as you said, I think sometimes the actors, they're not so much bothered about the reviews. They will know, and there's professional productions, they do it as a job, so they're doing it sort of day after day after day. They're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So, you know, in one way, there's the point of view that they may not read the reviews because they don't need to, because it's their job, and they're doing their job. With local theatre, I think a review is probably looked on a little bit more seriously, if you like, because they're doing it for the love of it, and they want to know they're doing a good job. It's not their job; they're not getting paid for it.
Absolutely. So is there anything in particular that you might look out for when you're watching a show? Is there anything that you like that sort of gives you that almost not a checklist, but things that can really stand out for you that you look out for?
The dancing. If it's a musical show, I love to watch out for the dancing. And I mean, I'm a massive fan of Strictly Come Dancing. Yeah. So I get a lot of tips from that. So it's nice to see a well choreographed piece of musical theatre. And you know, if they can do that with the armography and everything else, then that's brilliant for me. I always look out for, you know, little things like that. But as long as they can sing well, and you know, they make me believe the character. So I'm not looking at the actor, I'm looking at the character. As long as they can make me believe that, that does the job for me.
I suppose is that any more difficult if you know the cast involved? Do you have to look that little bit further to find the character because you're just, or are they so good that you're completely transported?
Sometimes you will see, and I hate to use his name again, but you can see Adam Guest, sort of, you know, acting, and you will see Adam Guest. But a lot of the time, Adam is so good that he will bring that character out, and you know, after about 5 or 10 minutes, you forget you're watching the actor, you're watching the character that they're portraying. So it's a little bit like, you know, sort of when you're playing Peter Pan, or when you've played Peter Pan, you know, you have to think, this is Peter Pan I'm watching, not Ben Bradley playing him.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's really interesting. It's because I thought it could be harder to see past your mates on the stage, but that's brilliant. So are there any shows in your hundreds and hundreds of reviews that are particularly, that stand out for you as being sort of a highlight or a cornerstone that you can turn to as bringing out as one of your favorites, or just the best?
My favorite show has always been Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
Love Blood Brothers. I've seen so many Mrs. Johnsons. Blood Brothers has got to be the one for me. So every time I see that, I know I'm going to enjoy it because it's my favorite. But then again, I love Les Mis, Joseph, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah,
you know, all the big ones.
Yeah, there's some great names in there. Favorite genre of theatre then? Is it? What is it?
I love a good musical.
Yeah.
I love a good musical, but then again, one of my favourite non-musical productions is Macbeth. I'm not a massive Shakespeare fan. I love seeing the popular ones. It's always nice to see a Shakespeare play which I've never seen before, because then that's a learning curve again for me.
Yeah.
But Macbeth, I think, has got to be my favourite. And funnily enough, my favourite production of that is not the National Theatre one. It's the one that was done up at the New Theatre in Nottingham by the students. They did the full 3-hour production, no break in between.
Oh,
yeah. And you know, a lot of people would have sat there and thinking, looking at the watch and everything. Yeah. But no, they did it so well, and it was the traditional Macbeth as well. And I think with it being traditional, and with them making it so interesting, that 3 hours just flew by.
Yeah.
And you know, something that's going to hold my attention. That's what I like.
Yeah.
You know, so whether it's a musical, I love musicals. But if it's a play, you know, like Macbeth, or any play like that, I mean, The Woman in Black, that is, a play which I thought, well, that's never going to work on stage. How are they going to get that atmosphere?
Yeah.
But it did. It worked. And, it's something that surprises me and holds my attention. That is something that I love. And that's what's so great about theatre.
Yeah, absolutely. That you can have all this whole spectrum. And
yeah.
So when theatre's in full throttle, oh God, I'll do it again. So when theatre's in full throttle, are you seeing things most nights then?
A lot of the time. Yeah. There's been times when I've been out five times a week.
Wow.
It's great. And funnily enough, around about a year ago, I was thinking, I could do with a night in. So, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I was good.
Because now I just can't wait for a night out, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I mean, it goes in fits and spurts. Sort of the beginning of the year, you don't normally get so much to go and see.
No.
But then once you get into it, you can be out 5 nights a week, and it's great to see something different every single night.
Yeah, I mean that sort of lifestyle, I would kill for that. That sounds fantastic to just do what you.
But then you'd never have a chance to do any acting or directing.
No, absolutely. So. Yeah, that is the downside. I was going to ask, are there any downsides to reviewing? And is it just that you don't get to do any sort of performance?
Well, I've never acted anyway. So last time I acted was I think when I was in junior school. No, there's not an awful lot of downsides. You give up quite a lot of sleep. You do, especially if you're sort of travelling out of town. Because I've not got a car, so I travel everywhere by bus, tram, or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're travelling sort of outside of Nottingham, where I'm based, by the time you get back, you've written your review, you've sorted out the pictures, you've put it online, and you've shared it everywhere. It can be about 1:30 in the morning.
Oh God.
And I'm one of those people who I like to get the review on the same night.
Yeah.
As soon as I've got back, because if I leave it overnight, and especially if you're going out night after night, you don't have time or chance to put it on sort of the day afterwards. Yeah. You have to put it on the same night, and I do that because it's still in my head.
Yeah.
So I put down what I can remember in my head. I never make notes during productions.
Okay.
Because that way, if I've got my head down writing notes, I'm not going to be able to. I'm not watching the stage. I might miss something. So I've seen a few reviewers who'll sit there and they've got the head sort of downwards. They're writing notes, and how they can concentrate on the production in front of them while they sit there writing notes. Yeah. I have no idea. So I'll just sort of keep it in my head, and then the best bits I will remember. When I get back home, and I'll put it all down that way. But no, that's the only downside I can think of it. Lack of sleep.
So it's a very genuine, immediate reaction for you. Then it's straight your thoughts straight away. It's down, and that I suppose that is really good because you get that rush you get from seeing a live piece of theatre. Yeah. You manage to encapsulate in your review, which is
hopefully.
That's what I think, and I think it's fantastic.
I know there's a few people who. After they've read a few of my reviews, and a few of the actors have actually said afterwards, they've said it's, and especially if it's a play or a musical that has not really sort of grabbed me so much. A few of the actors have said, well, it's what you don't write in your review that is more interesting than what some other stuff that you do write, because they get used to the way that I write. And they'll probably think, well, why hasn't he mentioned this? That might not have been a big thing for me, or it might not have been done as well as what I'd expect. So I will not deliberately miss it out. I will skate over it.
Yeah,
because I don't want to put a negative thing in there. If I can help by not putting a negative thing in there, some people will then, after they've read a few of my reviews, recognise what I've not put in there and may think, well, he didn't like that.
Okay. So it's about what you skate over rather than actually talk about.
Yes, I try to put all the positives in rather than something negative.
I think for when it's an amateur production, that is someone's that's a hobby, isn't it, more than anything? So that's what,
exactly.
Great.
Yeah. Especially if it's their first time doing something, and maybe they're not quite as good at it, or they're not confident at it at that time. I don't want to be the one who's going to dash their hopes, and sort of say, well, I'm not going to do any theatre after that. So if I don't say anything about it, then that's not going to upset anybody.
Well, I remember
I've done that in the past. So I learned from my mistakes.
Okay. But I mean, I remember when I did my first show that was reviewed by you, and I think I was doing sound about a year or two ago, and I remember reading your review afterwards. You've mentioned me, and it was for me as a very, very young, and I was just starting out in adult amateur where things were being reviewed properly. It was fantastic to see, and it gave me that confidence boost to do more things. So,
for me, it's the whole lot. It's the whole theatre experience. You know, yes, the people on the stage it's like the tip of the iceberg. You know, you can see that, but I've learned that there's a lot of people who work behind scenes, who do the sound, do the lights, you know, the choreographer. They may not get a mention, but they put in so much work, and they create the whole image of theatre, especially with light and sound. You know, you may not notice the light and sound, but if it's bad lighting or bad sound, you'd notice it.
Yeah.
And it's by not noticing it that shows that, you know, they've done a good job.
Oh, no, that's brilliant to focus on things that I say people might not always mention. Now, we can't talk about this year without talking about COVID and how that's affected you. And obviously, there's been no theatre at all, well, apart from the odd virtual performance. So how has it affected you in terms of reviewing and radio as well?
Well, radio, at the moment, I'm not doing my program due to tier 4. So because I travel sort of on buses and into the hospital as well. So I've decided while we're in tier 4, you know, it's best for everyone that I'm not there. Theatre-wise, I've been lucky to been able to actually sit in an actual theatre and see theatrical productions a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's not the sort of theatre I like. I mean, you're sat there with a mask on, and the only trouble is wearing these things with a mask, steams up, you can't see the stage anyway. No. So every time I've been in there, I've took my glasses off, and you don't get the best of the theatre with that. But it's lovely just to sit in a theatre, you know, and sort of just drink in the whole atmosphere of just being in the theatre. Even though the nearest person you sat next to is probably about 8-9 feet away from you. But apart from that, I've had quite a few virtual plays that have been sent over to me. So I've been able to keep up the reviewing. A lot of sort of university work and a lot of other little bits and bobs that have been put together, showcase and things like that. So it's kept my hand in with reviewing that way. It's always nice just to see any sort of theatre. But online, it is so different. It is, you know, I hate to say you don't get the atmosphere from it, you know, but that's the case with online theatre. I think sitting in the theatre, you do get the full atmosphere, you get the full theatrical experience. But it's always good that people are actually, you know, putting stuff together online and letting me see it. So I can't complain about that. But I just long for the time when, you know, theatre goes back to the way it should be. Yeah,
absolutely. When we can get back into the atmosphere, as you say, where other people are reacting around you, you pull that emotion from them. Absolutely.
And that's the thing, you see, the actors on stage and everyone else, they will react, as you know, they'll react to the audience's reaction, especially if it's a comedy part or something like that. And doing that online, you're not getting that reaction. And I think that's the sad thing about Panto. Although there are people in the audience, they are sort of people who are actually involved in the theatre, and they'll know when to laugh and everything. And you I suppose as an actor, you can't feed off that sort of audience, you know, sort of reaction from it, which is sad, but you know, it keeps theatre going, it keeps theatre in the minds of people. So it's all for good for the time being. For the time being, absolutely. So in a more positive vein, then, what does the future hold for you, do you think? Until theatre comes back, hopefully just sort of seeing online productions. You know, there's I mean, now we've gone into tier 4, there's stuff at the Theatre Royal in Nottingham that supposed to be taking place in March. Whether that happens, I've no idea. I know up at the Duchess Theatre there's been stuff which has been cancelled 2 or 3 times because of the tier 4, which is always a shame because as you know, the energy and the hard work that goes into just putting on a production, you know, it takes such a long time, and you know, to see that time wasted, it's just a shame for everybody involved. Absolutely. But hopefully as soon as we get back into some normality, we'll have you back doing your reviews as always. Well, as long as people don't forget me.
Of course not. I think that's impossible to. And just finally, quickly, have you got any advice, maybe in the radio side of things, for people who want to go into to presenting a radio show or just presenting in general? What would you say to them?
Oh, just do it. It's great fun. I mean, I've been doing this now for so long, and I'm still looking. I still look forward to doing my Sunday morning program. That that sort of gloss hasn't wore off. It's still something I look forward to doing, even sort of 20, 21 years down the line. It's like people who go in for Sunday Football League. As long as they can still do it, and as long as they enjoy it, keep doing it. There's always with radio. There's always something new. There's always a new guest to speak to. There's always new music to play. There's always new dad jokes to think up. Always, yeah. I'm quite good at that. But yeah, just if you've got an inkling for doing it, then just go and do it. It's same as acting. You love doing it, so there's always another play to do.
Yeah,
there's always something else to direct. So it never stops.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for giving your time to come and chat to us today. It's been great to have you on.
Oh, it's been lovely. It's been lovely to actually meet you properly.
Yes, we've not met.
Well, I say properly via online.
Via Zoom. I think I know you through the community, and I think you've done a couple of things that I've been at and here and there, but we've never actually met. So it's great to meet you finally. No,
and you'll have to come on my program as well once we get it all up and running.
We'd love to. Have to come and do something with the podcast.
In fact, all three of you, Lucy, Andy, and yourself.
Oh, well, we'll have to. I'll grab them both, and we'll come on. It'd be great to chat to you on that.
Yeah.
But be on the other end of the mic might be absolutely terrifying, actually.
Well, you know how I feel now, then.
Yeah.
Although Mr. Guest is used to it, and Adam's used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on, Kev.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks, Ben.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for Kev coming on and chatting to us. That was a brilliant little interview.
Yeah, it's good old Kev. Good to hear him again.
It's lovely to speak to him.
So that wraps up our show for today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and you know what that means, Adam. It's time for you to go to your podcast cupboard.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I feel guilty this week.
Why do you feel guilty this week?
I don't know.
Why this week out of all the weeks?
I was going to say, I don't know why I feel guilty this week.
Your conscience has finally caught up with you.
After several months.
Right. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye, Adam.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
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 And again, thank you to our wonderful guest, Kev Castle. It's a pleasure as always. And thank you to all of our lovely... Thank you very much.
Just can't record. Let's just try that again.
I'm in the cupboard. Bye, everyone.
Adam, shush. Adam, shut up. We're trying to record the outro.
So, with Adam safely in the cupboard, thank you so much, Kev, for coming on.
We're trying to record the outro. Go away and shut up.
Oh, sorry.
Keep disrupting us.
I'm trying to be funny. I'm in the cupboard.
We've got all the plugging to do. Go away.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
You've already gone. Oh,
Don't worry, we have remembered to water them today.
Right, yes. Well, okay, off we go.
Naughty Ben doesn't put water in his dish. So, again, thank you so much to our wonderful guest, Kev. It's a pleasure having you on and chatting to you as always. And thank you to our lovely guests. Thank you so much. If you want to support us further, you can follow us on our other media channels, such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And this is via Encore Offstage Pod. And if you want to support us on YouTube, if you click the subscribe button and ding that bell for notifications, we'll be so grateful. And by all means, if you want to leave any feedback, you can contact us, just drop a message below. And if you want to support us further, you can visit our Patreon page. So just click on the link down below. So that's thank you very much from myself, Ben, and Adam. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Oh, God.